Hey Hooper, it's Deanne Love here, and in this tutorial we are going to be looking at some variations with our hand-to-hand upper body breaks. The whole idea of this series is to build in full body awareness and intelligence so that we can move very freely even when we're in these structured rhythms or creating this focus and this real intensity in certain parts of our hooping, but the rest of us is not stuck in the mud, that we have full freedom and full movement and expression. Yes, it's so yummy. It's so yummy. Okay, so let's come into our practice. Let's see this week. And if you have been doing this series, we started with bringing awareness to our feet, knees, raising up to our hips, noticing, do they swivel all the time in the spine? The divine is in the spine. Can we find freedom while simultaneously inviting structure? Because we want to feel like we're getting it right. We want to feel like, oh, I'm doing it. Like, you don't want to feel like the hoop is flying and you're like, oh, I'm never going to get it. I'm just going to throw it away. I'm just going to dance. Also, just dance. Very cool. What if all of that could come together so that we have this full body expression with or without a hoop? And then we bring our awareness. Are you with me? Have you got your hoop? Are you just watching? Grab your hoop if you haven't already started these hand-to-hand breaks, opening up the heart space, the breath, noticing how you feel like moving today. Feeling quite structured. No movement here. Just going to go into battle. Hand-to-hand, that's it. Or do you have some joy? You got some built up stuff that needs to release? Is there full expression? Can you move the way that you are feeling? Can you move whatever needs to be moved? Or are you stuck? It's just a question to play with, so let's play. In last week's tutorial, or the last tutorial, we looked at what we can do with our feet. Started to move all around without losing this hand-to-hand play, these breaks in the upper body. And we looked at our second hand. So you might want to bring some of those in. The hand that is not touching the hoop, that's not doing the break. Can you press the palm back? Can you take the palm to your heart center? Can you put your hand on your hip? Just play. What else can you do? Can you take your hand out in front? Receiving. What happens if you take the hand that is not doing the break, so this one down, the one that goes down, for me it's the right hand now. What happens if you take that hand out? Now, we need to continue if you want this pattern back and forward, because of course you can do one break. We know this, right? There is such a thing as one break. And in fact, totally correct me if I'm wrong, I would say that when Baxter brought these into the hoop path learning and journey, that one break was a breakthrough, because one break stops the direction and allows you to go in the other. Let me show you on this tangent what I mean. If you are constantly hooping on your way, on a body part in one direction, you are constantly hooping in one direction. It is what it is. If you introduced one break, you are no longer constantly hooping in one direction. You have awakened both directions with one break. We have been looking, of course, at these continuous patterns. But you can do 1, 2, 3, 300, 4 days. It doesn't matter. So, with these constant back and forward breaks, you need to have a back and forward break. Which means if there are 2 points in this particular style of breaking, that you're breaking left, right, if you take and hand out, you need to have something there in that point that would normally have left, right, 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 left, right. You cannot break the pattern if you want to keep the pattern. Are you playing along? So let's play along. Let's see if we can keep those 2 points breaking. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Is your body swiveling? Are your feet light? Is your breath switched to its natural rhythm? And let's go. Left, right, up, right. Left, right, up, right. Left, right, up, right. Play with the opposite. Right, left, up, left. Right, left, up, left. Right, left, up, left. Noticing that I am taking it down each time. You can have your right fingers facing down and your left fingers facing up. Or switch. Left fingers facing down, right fingers facing up. Let's also play what happens if we bring the arm up and out and then we let the hand that's not doing the break hang down. So noticing no hands are doing breaks. They're both hanging down. But what I'm doing now, and I'll show you in this direction if I can, when my hoop comes to break on my left hand, I'm bringing my arm up and out, and then I'm breaking and reversing the hoop as I normally would. And when it comes to this break point, I'm either using my hand or a fleshy part of my arm. So I'm still essentially doing those 2 break points. So play with what feels like a new pattern for you. Again, going back to those previous tutorials that we looked at where we are keeping the spirit level on. We are keeping our body fluid but opening through the structure. Perhaps you need to give yourself more space. Perhaps you need to turn a little bit more, but you want to be mindful not to spill whatever is resting, balancing on the tops of your shoulders. Now, what would happen if we start to play, and of course give yourself time and space. Remember, we only want to go as far as our breaks will allow us. If you're feeling like they're getting wobbly or they're hitting you in the face, pull back, come back, reposition, build a little bit more bodily intelligence, and then you can start to bring in feet, knees, legs, circles, spirals, because ultimately we want to not be stuck in the mud. We want to not be just feeling like if any other part of the puzzle, like our foot, our knee, our leg, our eyelashes start to come into the dance, that we're going to completely lose this break system and then it's going to fly into our face or fly off. Or we want to have this effortless energy, poise, pace. And then if the pace wants to come in, if you want to speed up, if you want to slow down, if you want to move around, all of that is fully accessible to you. So let's look, or you can look, this is your practice time, at some ways that you can take that hand that's not breaking and do something else with it. So for example, you can bring it up through the space when the gap opens. You can bring it out through the space and you can break with another part of your arm. You can also, I feel like I call these inner elbow breaks. It's just because the hoop rests on my inner elbow instead of my hand to break. And then of course you could take yourself out and do a pinch break. So you're going to be really gentle with the fleshy part of your arm, and the break happens a little bit more on the side of your body than the front of your body, but the same rules apply. So for example, when the hoop comes into my left hand, my right hand comes out and I break. And of course there are different patterns, different rhythms that you can do with this. What you will notice, this one will make you hyper aware of if you're moving too much. So if you're crunching down, your hoop is going to be popping up or dropping. So again, each time you pour in a little bit new intelligence or some kind of new pattern or rhythm, you can watch yourself in the mirror, you can record yourself and just see, oh, what do I do? How do I react? Do I get really rigid every time I do that? Does that hurt? Do I forget to breathe? Am I crunching down, hunching over? Am I kicking out? Like, just witnessing the beauty that is yourself. I am going to give you a little bit of homework. Let me know down below. And this is also a really great opportunity to share your break patterns or your break kind of rhythms, or it's like a little melody, a little song that you put together, bringing in the second hand. Perhaps you have some different secondhand breaks that you like to bring in. Perhaps you're doing some elbow breaks, squeeze breaks, and maybe your feet. Write your little rhythm, write your little pattern down below so that the rest of the community can see as well. And you're like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. And you know what? So the visual and how we write out or how we describe hooping in words, it can be such an interesting kind of meeting point. And someone is going to read your break pattern or read your break rhythm and be like, oh, wow, I'm going to try to decipher that with my movements. So we're going to have a huge expanse of amazing break patterns. I can't wait to read and then rhythmically rock out your break pattern using second hand, using feet, using movement, using something else that you like to sprinkle in to your little break party. Big hoop love from me to you. Mwah.